But I'm writing songs for a play that's being written. It's not a musical, it's a play with music. And it's written by Jessica Blank and Eric Jensen. They wrote one of the most successful off-Broadway plays in years. It was called The Exonerated several years back, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And which I was in at one point, and I've been involved in it several times and getting it up. And but this is about a coal mine explosion that happened in West Virginia not that long ago. And the mine's called Upper Big Branch. And that guy that you saw running for the Senate in West Virginia owned it, and he ran it outlaw from day one. He bought it from Peabody, a union company. It was set up to be a union mine, and he, brought in union guys at first because they knew how to run the machinery. Now, it's a long wall operation, which meant a long wall's a machine that can be anywhere from, if you look at this back wall here, it can be like that tall and 4 times this wide. One big machine that's custom built for the face of coal that it's mining. And it basically is like a big cheese slicer. It goes down and it cuts that coal and it drops it onto a conveyor belt. And then you basically collapse the ceiling behind you as you go. They use hydraulic jacks to do that. And if it's done correctly, it's still dangerous. And it's high risk because the stakes are high. It's coal that is used for making steel. So, which, there's only so much of it, and you got to go deep to get it. And you know where that goes, right? Then it goes to China, every bit of it, or Taiwan, because we don't make much steel in this country anymore. There were only 24 guys in that mine that day, and that's part of the story too, because the American labor movement started in Pennsylvania and West Virginia, and it started with the United Mine Workers. That's where our labor union came from. It was imported from overseas. Kind of the same system was brought over from England that existed there, where the skilled laborers were all English, and all of the laborers were Welsh and Cornish at first. And then that's why it's kind of where bluegrass comes from when it gets right down to it. But the coal got to be worth money again. They figured out ways to get that high quality coal out of the ground. They started mining again, but they started doing it without a union, and they were running 12, 14-hour shifts. And they had failed inspection after inspection, but they just paid the fines and they kept running, and they finally blew it up. Only 24 guys died because that's a whole shift. Now, there was a time not that long ago, and this is where the demise of the unions come in. It's not corruption. It's basically all that happened is automation comes in, and all of a sudden you got 24 guys doing what 200 guys used to do, and the union's naturally not as powerful as it used to be because there just aren't as many people joining and paying dues and voting. So that's part of the story too. So there's a lot of songs that I'm really proud of. The song I wrote years ago called "The Mountain's" going to be in the show, but the rest of the songs are new. And this song, I finally got to write a John Henry song, because I can't be a folk singer until I write a John Henry song. Now, John Henry's a West Virginia story. If he lived in West Virginia. And he was not a coal miner, and he wasn't. When my son John Henry was born, I got sent railroad hammers and engineer's caps and all kinds of stuff because people misunderstood what John Henry did. He wasn't building the railroad. He was a steel driver. He drilled holes. He swung a hammer while another guy called a shaker held a bit, and they drilled holes in solid rock in which the charges were set to build tunnels. That's what John Henry's job actually was. So we got that straight. But so I had to. But the story of the John Henry story is the story of automation and the labor movement. So I had to find a way to connect that to this story, and I think I did it. Either way, I wrote a fucking John Henry song, and I'm pretty proud of that. My son wrote a good one, but this is called John Henry's a Steel Driving Man. John Henry was a steel driving man. He died in West Virginia with his hammer in his hand. We sing about him all across the land. John Henry was a steel driving man. Well, he beat the steam drill down, then he died. He beat the steam drill down, and then he died. And it didn't change nothing, but heaven knows it tried. He was buried with his hammer by his side, 'cause he beat the steam drill down and it died. There's coal beneath the mountain down below. There's coal beneath the mountain down below. And I come to take it, but the work was hard and slow. They said when there ain't no money in it, we'll just go. There's coal beneath the mountain down below. So the union come and tried to make a stand. Well, the union come and tried to make a stand. And West Virginia miners voted union to a man. You'd never know it now, but that was then, when the union come and tried to make a stand. And then they come, they brought in all the big machines. Well, they come, they brought in all the big machines. Cut more coal in an hour than a shift cut in a week. John Henry could have told them what that means. When they come, they brought in all the big machines. John Henry was a steel driving man. John Henry was a steel driving man. He died in West Virginia with his hammer in his hand. We sing about them all across the land. John Henry was a steel driving man.